Hello, welcome back to the channel. I think this is the seventh video that we've done, the sixth session or real lesson where we've been on Onshape. And what we're going to talk about today is something called planes. So the first thing I'm going to get you to do is make a new tab at the bottom. I've called mine session 6 or lesson 6. You can call yours whatever you want. And if you want to give it a title, call it planes. The first thing you're going to do is click on the front plane, press N to normalize your view, press sketch. And you're going to do a sketch that looks a little bit like half a Christmas tree. You're going to do one line that comes vertically, and then you're going to just do some spiky bits that go up the side, and then come back to close it off. And you're just going to extrude that for me. So all I want is shaped like that. Off you go. Pause the video until you've got that far. Okay, so we've talked a little bit before about how we've got the planes and we can sketch on any one of the planes. And once we've made a 3D shape, we can sketch on any one of these flat surfaces. What we've not done is we've not actually talked about sketching on an angled surface. So there's a few tips for this. And we're going to go ahead and make some new planes in a short while. But before we do that, if I click on one of these surfaces and I press N, it's going to normalize my view to that. Now, this is hidden by the spiky bit at the top a little bit. It obscures my full view of it. If I right click on this orange surface, and I can do this to any flat shape, any flat surface, and I go to section view, and just click the tick, it looks like it's got rid of that bit at the top for me. However, it's not really done that. What it's done is it's hidden everything in this plane that is above this plane. So for example, we can turn that on or off, turn off section view. There you go. If I do it to this plane, if I do it to this surface here, this flat surface, what it'll do is it'll get rid of everything above this diagonal. So if I turn section view on, there you go. It's got rid of everything above that diagonal. And what that means is I can work on this plane easy peasy without any obstacles or obtrusions. If I press N, it's going to normalize my screen actually on the angle, which is super useful. Oh, and what I can do now is I can sketch. Let's just do a simple rectangle. In fact, I can do both a rectangle and I can do a circle next to each other. I can extrude these together, and you will see that they actually come off at an angle. Now, it's not showing up at the minute because I've got my section view still turned on. So it's hiding everything above this plane. But I know once that comes off, these will be visible. So let's see. Let's have them 50 mil. And all I need to do now, right click back on this surface, scroll up to turn off section view. And you can see they're colliding with this bit, which would be obstructing my view had the section view not been turned off. So sometimes I might want to draw off my shape. I might want to draw a sketch somewhere over here. Now, I don't have anything to draw on over here. So what I need to do, and I can do this super easy, I can make a new plane. I got given these 3 planes at the start of my document. Everyone gets given them at the start of every document that I can start sketching on. If I don't like these planes or I want to start my sketch or add a new sketch somewhere else, all I need to do is click on this button here. It's near the right hand side of the toolbar. If I'm in sketch mode, click off that, click the X on anything you've currently got active, and you should see there's a plane button. If you click that, and you click a plane parallel to the direction you want your plane to be in, so whether that is this plane, or this plane is parallel, this surface is parallel, or even this surface here is parallel, it's going to make a new plane and this is a bit small because it was a small surface, I can pull this plane however far I like in this axis. I'm going to turn it to 200 mil. You can see that's quite a way off anything else. If I click the tick, and I click on plane 1, and I click N, it looks like I'm just sketching on that front plane again. However, if I do a sketch, maybe we do the sketch which is overlapping the rest of my product, click the tick, it actually sits a long way away, and I can now do so. I can make new stuff all the way over here, which I don't really want to do, but sometimes it is really useful. In fact, not just sometimes, a lot of the time you do want to do that. Um, Especially when you're dealing with complex shapes that might have lots of or several components that all fit together. It's just easier to do it out of sequence. Another good thing is this is the case for any flat surface. Like we can sketch on any flat surface, like we did here, we can draw planes off any flat surface. So if I click on, oh, what's a flat surface? If I click on this, and I click new plane, you can see that plane comes off at exactly the same angle as that is at. I'm actually going to get rid of this now because it's in my way. And the great thing about this is I can now control what angle this is. If I go back to my sketch, my initial sketch, and I set this angle to 45 degrees, and I can do that, well, first I'm going to set this to 90 degrees. And the way I do that, if you remember all the way back to video 2 or 3, the dimension video, I click dimension or just press D, and that will toggle, that will grey that in or out. I want to make sure it's greyed out. That means it's activated, and I click on this line. To start with, it'll just say how long that line is. If I click on another line that is not parallel to it, not like what I've just done there, click on this line here, it's going to allow me to set an angle between those things. And I want that to be exactly 90 because I didn't sketch it quite right. That's going to fix it for me. Now, I want this angle to be exactly 45. So I'm going to click on this line, I'm going to click on that line with my dimension tool selected, and I'm going to be able, if I draw it out there, I've got my exterior angle, which I don't want. If I put it in here, I want the interior angle, which is exactly what I do want, and I'm just going to set that to 45. And it's going to change all this a little bit because I've not defined it. I've not put any parameters in. That's fine. I've got this line, which is currently at 45 degrees. Click the tick. We should see that our plane now sits at 45 degrees. Look at that. It's exactly parallel. And to that. And now, beautiful thing about this is I can now do a sketch. Now I know when I extrude this sketch, it's going to be at 45 degrees to my initial axes. And we'll just check it is parallel. If we draw this all the way up, look at that. If we decide we want to change it, that plane is connected to this surface, which is in turn connected to that sketch. So if I want to change the angle of the plane, all I need to do is go back into the sketch, change the angle, let's call it 35, and you should see everything now snaps to match that 35-degree angle. Click the tick. It has done, but for some reason it shifted it all the way over here. I'm not quite sure why it's done that. But this is the shape we did have, and if we look, it is still, it has changed to match that angle. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. There's not an awful lot for you to do in this video, But it is important, especially when we start getting towards the mirror tool, that we get acquainted with making different planes or using different surfaces of different planes. So if nothing else, what I want you to do is go ahead, make those planes, do what I've done today, get used to that tool. Dead simple tool. You click the tool, you click the plane, you click the surface, you pull it out as far as you want, you click the tick, and you've got a new plane. And then you can do whatever you like on that plane. And I'm going to leave it there. And in the next video, we're going to come back. There you go. And we're probably going to look at the mirror tool. We're going to certainly look at the mirror sketch tools. Whether we get onto the features, that might be the video after. But we'll have a look, and I'll see you then. Thank you, folks. Goodbye.